Hello, my name is Maggie, and I am a beloved child of God, and so are you. Today in Children's Chapel, we made Advent wreaths. It was a lot of fun. We talked about the season of Advent and what it means. And Advent, the word Advent means that something's coming. And today is the very first Sunday of Advent. And when I was growing up, I really thought that Advent meant Christmas is coming. That's what it meant. Christmas is coming. It's the season right before Christmas, and we're thinking about how special it is that Jesus came to the earth and was born, that God actually came to the planet Earth to walk around as a man, as a human being, and see what that felt like, and to experience that life, and then to die for us. That's what I thought Advent was all about. And it is. Advent is about Christmas is coming and Jesus coming for us. It is also about, and maybe even a little bit more about, the fact that Jesus is coming back. And in our gospel lesson today, Jesus is talking to the disciples and he's saying that this will happen. And he told us throughout the gospel he was going to come back. We know Jesus is coming back for us. And we'll say, "Come, Lord Jesus." The last chapter of the Bible in Revelation is about Jesus coming back. And the words saying, "Come, Lord Jesus." And we sing, "O come, Emmanuel." And we sing, "Come, long expected Jesus." These are songs that we're singing right now. We're thinking about Jesus coming. And it's not just that sweet little baby Jesus that was placed in a manger so long ago in Bethlehem. That's important. It's really also very important that we think about Advent, the advent of our Messiah coming again. And Jesus tells us that we need to be awake. And it reminds me, I was reading another writer and they were talking about the different A words for Advent. And he mentioned alive, alert. And I had a song we would sing at Girl Scout camp growing up, and it goes like this. I'm alive, awake, alert, enthusiastic. I'm alive, awake, alert, enthusiastic. I'm alive, awake, alert. I'm alert, alive, awake. I'm alive, awake, alert, enthusiastic. Very often we sing that early in the morning just to see who really was alive, awake, alert, and enthusiastic. I like that song. My boys probably don't like it very much because I use it to wake them up a lot. But it makes me think about how I want to spend this Advent season. I want to be awake. Jesus says, be awake because you never know when I'm coming back. Be ready. I want to be alert. When you think about being alert, you know what's happening around you. You know where you are. You know how you feel. You know what's going on in the world around you. And enthusiastic means that you're living with the Spirit of God. It's an actual process of being present and feeling the energy around you and feeling God's creation all around you. And that's how we want to spend Advent. Because we say, oh, come, Emmanuel. And Emmanuel means God incarnate. It means God with us. God, come be with us. And we'll say, come, long expected Jesus, because we're wanting Jesus to come and save us. And here's what Advent is also about. Advent is realizing that when we ask Jesus to be with us, he's already there. Always. God is always coming to you. Always. God is always knocking on your door. God is always trying to be in your heart. God is always trying to be born again and again and again for you. Not just so long ago in the city of Bethlehem, placed in a little manger, nor in the very end of time when Jesus comes back for us, and it'll be magnificent and huge. Maybe not. Maybe it'll be quiet and still. I don't know. Jesus says it'll be different. But also Jesus is coming to us all the time right now. We got to have communion in two kinds in church today. And that meant that we got to have the wafer and the wine. And when we approach that table, that altar, Jesus's table, it's us having communion, being in communion with our God. God is always with us. Doing a couple different Advent devotionals. This one we have at the church. If you want to pick it up, it's about being patient. And always there's a joke. Don't pray for patience, because then God's going to prove to you how patient you can really be, because then you'll get lots of things that you have to be patient through. And it points out to me that living the life as a Christian, thinking about Jesus, it's kind of like being a seed. And I recently heard somebody say that it's when you look at an acorn, that acorn could eventually be a huge, majestic oak. There's an oak tree in Orlando that has been there since before the days of Napoleon. It's that old. It's crazy old oak tree. It's gorgeous. I mean, the limbs have gone down and gone back into the ground and grown back up. It feels magical to be in its presence. And that came from a little acorn. Nobody ever looks at the little acorn and says, "Oh, you're just such a bad acorn. Why can't you go ahead and be an oak tree?" And nobody looks at an oak tree that's 100 years old and says, "Ah, you're only 100 years old. Why can't you be even more majestic and more beautiful?" We look at it and we say, "Isn't that neat? Isn't that a wonderful thing of creation?" But it's still growing. It's still changing. That acorn, that sapling, the baby tree, they're still growing and changing. And so the idea that patience isn't just suffering through while you wait and wait and wait. Patience is knowing that you are whole right now, because you are you, and you are authentic, and you are unique. You are a reflection of the image of God. And when you open your heart and your mind and your spirit, then God is there with you. It's all the time, that continual Advent. God is always coming to you. I have a calendar that I thought this was fun. I've seen this woman do this before. She does praying in color. And you should go and see some of the ones she's done in the past, because they turn out beautifully. But it's an Advent calendar where you color for each day and you kind of think on the devotion or meditation. So you could draw a picture or think about the idea of being patient. What does that look like to you? And what does it look like? How can you be present right here, right now, in thinking about God being with you and your relationship with God? I know it's a crazy time of year. Boy, don't I know it. I mean, we love Christmas. It's so much excitement. There's fun music and food and pretty things and family and friends, and it feels good outside if it's cold. And we have all of these traditions and all of these things that we get caught up in. Sometimes we also get caught up in things that don't feel really good. A lot of times people aren't that happy at Christmas time because it's overwhelming, because it reminds them of things that make them sad. And that's okay too. That's normal. And we can get distracted by that too. So the idea is, let's not get distracted. Jesus is saying, don't get distracted. Don't get distracted by those great, big, beautiful things that give you so much joy. And don't get distracted by those things that feel sad or scary or lonely. Don't get distracted, because I'm right here with you all the time. So I colored on my calendar. I did a little acorn, and I tried to give him a happy face. He's closing his eyes. He's happy. And a little sapling, because they're happy where they are, right here, right now. And that's how I want to be for this Advent season. And I hope that you have that as well. I hope you have that peace and that serenity, and we're able to relinquish the control of what we think needs to happen when, because we're on God's time, and that's okay. So a wonderful, blessed Advent to you, friends. I hope you have an Advent wreath. If you don't, Then you can find something to do. You can maybe draw or color or read or go for a walk. Something that builds on you and your relationship and seeking the light of the world, which is Jesus. Take care. Have a good week.